Final Destination, Bloodlines is set to rewrite the entire franchise. A bold new direction for Final Destination. The Final Destination movies have followed a terrifyingly consistent formula. A premonition warns the protagonist of an impending disaster. They narrowly escape, and then death methodically hunts them down in gruesome fashion. Fans have come to expect this cycle, but that's about to change.
Today on MMX Night,
We're diving deep into the shocking twists and hidden connections of Final Destination, Bloodlines. Ready? Let's get started. Final Destination, Bloodlines is breaking the mold. This new installment introduces Iris Campbell, a woman who experienced a premonition decades ago and actually managed to keep death at bay. The game-changing twist? The victims in the previous films weren't just random. They were descendants of people who should have died in Iris' original premonition. This revelation doesn't just make Bloodlines the most intense Final Destination movie yet. It makes it the most emotionally charged, fixing the franchise's biggest weakness. Since its 2000 debut, Final Destination has stood apart from traditional horror. Instead of a masked killer, the villain was an unstoppable, invisible force. The elaborate death sequences became the franchise's signature, setting it apart from the brutal torture porn trend of the 2000s. However, the series had one glaring flaw: predictability. The characters were often interchangeable, and because they were mostly strangers, there was little emotional investment. Outside of Final Destination 5, where a romantic subplot added some weight, the stakes were rarely personal. Bloodlines changes everything. By focusing on a family tied to death's grand design, the movie adds a level of connection and consequence that previous films lacked. Instead of watching strangers meet their horrific ends, we're now following a generational struggle against fate itself. What the trailer reveals. The Bloodlines trailer starts as expected, with a shocking disaster unfolding at a family gathering. Then, we meet Iris Campbell, played by Gabrielle Rose, who had a vision decades ago that saved numerous lives. Unlike past survivors, she has found a way to delay death's grip. But now, her time, and her family's, is running out. Iris entrusts her granddaughter, Stefani, Caitlin Sanawana, with crucial knowledge. In a chilling scene, she reveals a book filled with drawings of past catastrophes, events Final Destination fans will immediately recognize. The infamous log truck accident, the airplane explosion. These weren't just freak occurrences. They were part of Death's master plan to correct an anomaly. And now, only Iris' family remains on the hit list. A franchise-altering retcon, death as a generational curse. Bloodlines fundamentally shifts Final Destination's mythology. No longer is death simply a force of nature picking off random survivors. Instead, the previous films are all connected by a greater purpose: death's relentless mission to restore balance. The victims weren't just unlucky, they were never meant to exist. This revelation turns the franchise from a collection of standalone survival stories into an interconnected saga. The stakes are no longer just about individuals dodging fate. It's about an entire lineage fighting against inevitability. How Bloodlines could tie the entire series together. The trailer hints that Iris has spent years researching death, linking every Final Destination disaster back to her original premonition. If true, then the past movies weren't random at all. They were part of a long-term plan to erase those who should have perished decades earlier. Could other survivors from past films unknowingly be tied to Iris' past? If their ancestors were meant to die, did their miraculous escapes trigger a ripple effect that has played out for generations? This theory explains why Death's design has always seemed so meticulous and unyielding. Sure, there are logistical gaps. How did all these descendants end up in similar life-threatening situations? But the concept is intriguing. Death isn't just reclaiming individual lives. It's cleaning up a decades-old mistake. A nostalgic nod to Final Destination 2's log truck scene. Few horror moments are as iconic as the log truck disaster from Final Destination 2. Unlike roller coaster crashes or airplane explosions, the highway scene resonates because it feels terrifyingly real. Bloodlines acknowledges this fan-favorite moment. The trailer features a near-identical shot of characters slamming their brakes behind a log truck. Whether this is a clever Easter egg or foreshadowing another brutal highway sequence remains to be seen. Either way, it's clear the film is paying homage to the franchise's most memorable moments while forging a new path. Is Bloodlines the end or a new beginning? By tying all previous films together, Bloodlines poses an intriguing question. Could this be the final chapter? If the movie successfully weaves every installment into a singular narrative and explains death's grand purpose, it could serve as a satisfying conclusion to the series. However, it could also lay the groundwork for a new cycle. If death wipes out Ira's family, but another survivor defies fate, a fresh lineage of unintended lives could emerge, restarting death's relentless hunt. Why Bloodlines matters. By shifting Final Destination from a series of disconnected tragedies into a deeply personal, multi-generational horror story, Bloodlines has the potential to redefine the franchise. It raises the stakes, introduces an emotional core, and gives audiences a new reason to fear death's unforgiving pursuit. Whether it's the grand finale or the start of something even bigger, one thing is certain. After this movie, you'll never look at the previous Final Destination films the same way again. Alright, that's it for this one. If you drop a like, I really appreciate it. And if you're new, hit that subscribe button. See y'all in the next one. Peace.